Yo, what up, everybody? They'll change the schedule. Complex or Ulysses, he won't be with us tonight. It'll just be me. But outside of that, we're still gonna have a good time. Hold on, let me mute the background noise, right? But outside of that, yeah, we're gonna still have a good time. I appreciate you guys joining us tonight. I apologize, we haven't done a Sunday Car Talk in a while. Been thinking about doing a lot of rebranding in regards to the Sunday Car Talk. Mostly like the uh, the title and just everything. You know what I'm saying? The title and everything. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, though, we're still gonna have a good time. We got a lot of updates in regards to Super GT, um, Daytona 24 hour, and then the topic for tonight is: have you exhausted your options? And what I mean by exhausted your options, I'm speaking in regards to sim racing. But before we continue, I want to let you guys know right now. I woke up yesterday, and I don't know if it was the flu or I had a regular cold, but I was stopped up. My body was aching, but that might have just been from working out. But all I know is it was very tough for me to get up. But I made a promise I was going to do a Sunday car talk show tonight. So here we are. So let me go ahead and just get some information up. Just a second, guys. So in regards to Super GT, um, let me know in the chat if the audio is right. Just press one in the audio. Press one in the chat if the audio is correct because I'm working by myself right now. But I don't know if you guys know, but for 2024, Honda is going to be switching their Challenger. It's not going to be the NSX GT anymore. It's going to be the Honda Civic Type R. What? I know you're shocked. Yo, what up, Formula? Oh, my bad. My bad. You changed your name. What up, Neat? I like that. I like that. But yo, Honda change. We're gonna take this out. We don't need to be looking at that. But Honda changed this whole Challenger, yo. So they're not gonna be running the NSX for 2024 schedule. They will be running the Honda Civic Type R. And the funny thing about it is, there's a lot of people that don't like it. There's a lot of people that are upset about it. But I think honestly, if you think about it, the reason why people are upset is just because of the name. It's just because of the name. Like they can't understand why you would switch a Civic. Switch an NSX for a Civic. But if I'm not mistaken, there is not another NSX being like made anytime soon. If I'm not mistaken, there was a different Honda that was actually that was like spotted on the track. It was like a hybrid car, but it actually doesn't have a production. So, it is what it is. But this is what they wrote on motorsport.com. Jamie Klein, who I get a lot of my information on, said, in a radical departure from the current NSX GT, which has served in one form or another, we're going to get this out of the way. I'm tired of looking at boxers. Why are they trying to show us boxer ads? Anyways, in a radical departure from the current NSX GT, which has served in one form or another as Honda's GT 500 base model since 2014, the Sakura Marquis has chosen to use the four-door Civic as the existing car successor, showing off the new Civic Type R GT concept at the Tokyo Auto Salon on Friday, which I'm so shocked that I haven't thought about doing an update for the Tokyo Auto Salon. That's one of the things I've always wanted to go to, the events. I've always wanted to go to the Tokyo Auto Salon. We'll make that happen. Try to make that happen next year. The move follows the production of the road-going NSX ending last year with a limited run of Type S models, with the NSX GT being updated to reflect this. By switching to the Civic, Honda is hoping to promote the Type R moniker that has historically been used across its range of road cars. It's funny how Honda's choosing to keep the Type R name going, but Toyota just switched from TRD to GR. But that's another story. HRC President Koji Watanabe said that the decision to use the Civic in particular is a throwback to the days when the car was used by Honda in touring car racing in the late 1980s and 1990s. So that was probably the JTTC, not the JGTC. Yeah, it's still early days, but I'm excited to show off the Type R brand to the world. Watanabe told motorsport.com Japanese editions after the car's unveiling. If you look at the past, The Civic has raced in categories like JTCC and Group A. In other words, a mass produced car like the Civic was at the heart of our racing. Sorry, guys, my nose is like completely stopped up. At our racing activities, but by using the Civic in Super GT, it would be great if we could promote it in this way again. We also wanted to showcase the Type R's brand driving performance to the world. To achieve this, we decided to use the Civic as a base. Um, but yeah, let's see. Honda has acquired a reputation for producing GT500 cars with a high amount of downforce. With the success of NSX GT, which won the title in 2018 and 2020, Watanabe dismissed concerns that such a radical change in body shape for 2024 could have impact on the Marquis's performance. I think at this point, the downforce level is not too different from the NSX GT, he said. We're at the point where there are not many major negative factors. Okay. So overall, the president doesn't really have a problem with it, right? But when you look online, for instance, like on Road and Track, there is a hold on, guys. I thought I was gonna sneeze. Am I gonna sneeze? You know, you can feel it coming up. All right, we're just gonna work through it till it comes. All right. So on an article by Lucas Bell, written on January 15th, talks about Honda Civics Type R GT concept target Super GT. And I was going to show you guys more pictures, but we'll just start with this one right here. That's how it looks. It's beautiful. I mean, to be honest with you, there's not many GT 500 cars or Super GT cars in general that I've seen that aren't, good looking. This Honda Civic Type R GT is nice. It's nice. Now, off the top of my head, I'm thinking, okay, so they're switching the NSX. Hold on, guys. They're switching the NSX for the Civic. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the NSX is a little bit longer on the wheelbase, but the Civic is also a four door, and it's also a front engine motor car. If I'm not mistaken, I think the NSX was a mid engine for GT500. I don't know if they moved it to the front. I'm not sure. We have to check that out. But yeah, but they basically just talk about everything that went on in the Tokyo Auto Salon. He talks about how it was unveiled there and blah blah blah. But what I wanted to get to is that it was something that was right here. Okay, with 2023 marking the end of the line for road-going Honda and Acura NSX program, the automaker needs a new machine to take racing in Super GT. Now that the FL5 generation Civic Type R sits atop the brand's performance portfolio, it makes for a logical choice as the basis of a new racing car. That said, there appears to be little share between this GT500 series competitor and the production CTR per Super GT regulations. The car will ride on a carbon monocoque chassis, complete with a rear-wheel drive layout, as well as feature a turbocharged 2.0 liter four cylinder. Since 2014, cars in the GT500 series have been making in excess of 650 horsepower with that motor. That's quite a bit more than 315 horsepower on offer in the road car. GT500 race car. I mean, but I don't even know why that's even a point that's going to be made, because what they're going to do is just switch the motor, but that's neither here nor there. The Civic Type R GT concept features wider bodywork all around, which is accented by a splitter and the set of canards up front. Fender vents and side skirts also join the aero kit, as well as an aggressive rear diffuser and swan neck rear wing combo. So going back to what I was saying, they're saying that's a big difference. Most of the GT500 cars since 2015 have been pushing around 650 horsepower. But the normal motor in the Civic is pushing 315. It's pushing 315. That's not really that big of a deal. That's like, for instance, right? That Castro Super that everybody loves, right? Everybody thought that it had a 2JZ in it, but no, it was running a 3S GTE motor in there. Why? Because it was lighter and you had a better displacement, and it kept the car on the road a little bit better than the 2JZ. So, with that being said, 2JZ was a little bit more powerful than the 3S GTE, but they still ran the 3S GTE because they were able to get overall, like, all around better performance with that motor. So that's not really like shocking that they would do that. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people, what I want to skip to, a lot of people are pissed. For instance, Roll 2006, but why replace the NSX? Jeff 3633. Well, that's a big step down. Rotary Rat. Couldn't agree more. This is absolutely embarrassing from the top down. If the execs at Honda think the Civic Type R is the new Halo car for this brand, these fools are out to lunch. Out to lunch. All of them. Imagine if only half the marketing and PR investment went to keeping the NSX alive and competitive against the German brands, it might actually sell. What do you mean competitive against the German brands? There aren't any German brands in GT500. It's pointless. Anyways, might actually sell. Not to mention actually having a real sports car in Super GT, not a front wheel drive grocery getter. As a previous Honda owner, I will and have no intentions to own another Honda or Acura ever again. This guy is very passionate about what he wrote. I feel he took the time to express his opinions. Um, I don't feel like it's accurate because number one, there ain't no German cars in the GT500. There's some German cars in the GT300 in regards to the formula. I can't remember the team, but they run they run the AMG. But yeah, it makes no sense. It's not and then it's not front wheel drive. It's a rear wheel drive. They're changing the whole power plant, so it's going to handle pretty crazy. All right, EI Clean Bong. A Civic replaces an NSX. That is pathetic. I don't know, man. I mean, let's think about it, right? See, I wasn't paying attention, but was anybody pissed when the Z replaced the GTR? You know, I'm not really too sure. That brings me now to the GTR. Let me show you guys. Now that brings me to the GTR. Yo, what up, Dead Channel? I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I got a different type of chat up, so I can't really see. Yeah, man, the NSX is discontinued. Um, they still could have ran it, but I honestly don't have a problem with Honda doing this. I think this is a good idea. They got to move on because I do believe that they're going to release a new NSX, but when they do release that new NSX, it's going to be a hybrid. You know, and when they release that hybrid, it's gonna be crazy. But like I was saying, when the NSX, no, I'm sorry, when the Nissan Z replaced the Subaru, I'm sorry, I'm sure. When the Nissan Z replaced the GTR, I didn't really hear too many people like tripping about that. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't really hear too many people tripping about that. But I do know that the only people that were tripping about something involving the GTR or trying to get up, guys, trying to get up. Bear with me. The people that were tripping were uh, the GTR with the Subaru. So hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm trying to find it for you guys. Trying to find it for you guys. Okay. So the GTR, they were tripping with the Subaru. Basically, they were kind of being little spoiled brats. And I'll just give you a quick rundown. So, for instance, when was it? When was it? It was when was it? Back in like 2020, the BOP standards were changed. Um, Basically because they felt like the Subaru was out qualifying everybody and running kind of unfair, which I don't know how that's possible, you know. But the BOP standards got changed in 2020, I believe, or 2021. I think it was 2021 or 2022, right? So in 2023, um, Nissan is lobbying for the sanctioning body to change the BOP standards again. And it's only because they're constantly getting out qualified by the Subaru. So every time they start, they're always starting at like an average of what, seventh place, but the Subaru's always starting in first place. Here's the catch: the Nissans finished P1 and P2 overall for the year. The Subaru finished P3 last year. So it's kind of like, what are you crying for? Like, your car is underperforming. I don't know why you're tripping so hard. Just try to figure out how to do better during qualifying, And to be honest with you, maybe you just have to face the fact that the GTR is just not the car for you to have. It's outdated. Um, it was a decent car when it first came out, but now it's being outdated. It's underperforming, and the BRZ is kicking its tail. I'm trying not to curse because we don't want to get demonetized in the future. It's kicking its tail, right? So, with that being said, Nissan's crying about out there talking about, hey, we need to what is it? We need to change everything, right? So, for instance, here we go. This is in regards to the Subaru, right? The works R&D Sports Subaru BRZ built to GTA GT300 rules took 4 pole positions and started from the front row 6 times out of the 8 during Takuto Iguchi and Hideki Yamauchi title winning 2021 season. Despite BOP adjustments being made in a bid to slow down the GTA GT300 cars relative to their FIA GT3 rivals last year, Iguchi and Yamauchi enjoyed similar success in qualifying. The pair scored pole positions at Okayama, Fuji round 2, Sugo, and Antopolis, while also qualifying second for Fuji round 4. At Suzuka round 3, Turbo Trouble and QT restricted them to 15th, but they topped Q1 and could have feasibly scored pole there too. By contrast, the title winning Kondo racing Nissan GTR, Nismo GT3 of, I'm not saying his name, never qualified on pole, taking the highest grid slot of third at Suzuka round 3 and an average grid slot of 7.4 across the year. Now, skipping down, although Nissan entries locked up top positions in the final standings, helped by a difficult final race for Subaru at Motegi, Nismo COO Motohiro Matsumura believes that further adjustments to the BOP are needed for 2023 to make qualifying more fair. I just feel like that's lame that they're doing that, because there's no reason for you to do that. If you already know that you're faster than them overall, why are you tripping on just the BOP? It's lame, but it is what it is. Uh, I think I've done this on the previous show, but I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys know now in regards to Super GT, the schedule. Let me get that up for you guys. The schedule. This is provisional, right? But round 1, April 15th through 16th, is gonna be at Okayama. Round 2, May 3rd, Fuji Speedway. Round 3, June 3rd, Suzuka Circuit. Round 4, August 5th, Fuji Speedway. Round 5th, August 26th, Suzuka Circuit. Round 6, September 9th, Sportsland Sugo. Round 7, September 30th, Autopolis. Round 8, November 4th, Mobility Resort Motegi. And that'll be the schedule for next year, 2023, but it's provisional, so don't bet on it, right? Okay, switching topics. In regards to Daytona 24-hour, congratulations to my homie Kevin, Dead Channel, aka Dead Channel. I believe you guys took the P1 this weekend. That's good, man. That's like doing that endurance stuff, bro. Like, my hats off to you, man, because that's tough, bro, to be able to win like an endurance round. But congratulations to you and your team, man. I just hope one of these days I can actually pay attention more and stay afloat to all these schedules and actually join an endurance race with you, man. But congratulations to you and your team, man. But in regards to Daytona 24, like real life racing, and where the actual tires are hitting the pavement. So in regards to IMSA, I believe the Acura, yeah, they beat Porsche to pole for 2023 Daytona 24 hours. So basically, Acura will be taking P1 spot for pole to start, next week. Because if I'm not mistaken, the race starts next week on the 28th, I believe. Yes, I think they do. Yes, they start on the 28th. So it will be Acura who's taking P1. Um, so basically, so this is written by David Malcher Lopez with Autosport.com, talking about the road before the 24. He's just covering it. Due to poor weather and only two of the new GTP cars taking the track on Saturdays, hold on. Due to poor weather and only two of the new GTP cars taken to the track in Saturday's 2 hour evening session, the class was granted an extra 15 minutes preparation before qualifying. Sebastian Bourdais, I don't know if that's how you say it, Alex Lynn were installed in the '01 and '02 Chip Ganassi racing run Cadillac V LMDH entries. See, this is Ulysses Lane right here. I'm not really a hypercar guy. I'm not even really an IMSA guy, but this is Ulysses Lane, by the way. Oh, but by the way, did you guys see that Ferrari though? That new Ferrari looks good. On another note, right? Nick Tandy and Felipe Nassar took charge of the Team Penske run Porsche 963s. Philip Ing was wheeling one of the BMW M Harvard V8s run by Raul Letterman Lanigan. Pipo Durrani was driving the Action Express Racing Cadillac. Ricky Taylor drove the Acura ARX of Wayne Taylor Racing, while the similar car of Myers Shank Racing was driving by Tom Bloomquist. The BMW missed the session because the car was still in the IMSA Tech line. And get your stuff together. Tanny set the early pace with the 1 minute 35.53, then lowered the mark to 1 minute 35, 349. Then Bloomquist and Nassar set identical times to each other to draw within 0.08 or whatever. The next time Bloomquist was on top was for the Acura. This wasn't the final roll of the dice because Nassar went faster with an impressive 1 minute 34.9. Okay. All right. More of the story is the Acura, they won. Well, not won. They got P1. They took pole for the qualifying. So congratulations to them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I may or may not be watching some of it. I know I'm not watching all 24 hours because I got to sleep, you know. But outside of that, congratulations to them, and another congratulations to Kevin and your team for winning the Daytona 24 endurance race that you competed in. Okay. Today's topic is, have you exhausted your options? And what I mean by have you exhausted your options, I mean this in regards of sim racing, right? So one of the things that I've constantly been telling myself, like last year and beginning of this year, is you really have to push the envelope for what you want, right? So me, for instance, I want to be one of the fastest sim racers that are known to man. And I'm for real. That's really what I want to do. My discipline and my work ethic is not meeting that, but that's what I want to be. So I do believe that my discipline and work ethic will meet that one day, right? So what I mean by have you exhausted your options? Have you tried each and every tactic or each and every what's the word strategy to get the best times out there on the track? For instance, a lot of times I go around Facebook forums and so right now I'm running the Hoosenville sprint pedals, right? So I'll go on there and just see what everybody's talking about, see how they're, doing their rubber stacks and see what they're doing as far as like, just resistance on the brake, how they're running the smart control presets, what curves they're running on the brakes, what curves they're running on the accelerator, blah blah blah. A lot of times I'll go to Reddit too, and I'll see what people are doing, just to try to figure stuff out, right? So, for instance, we were at Suzuka this week at LFM, and I was pulling like 204s, high 203s, 203.9s, or whatever, right? So on Facebook group, there was somebody talking about, how do you guys send pictures or upload pictures of how you have your rubber stacks on the sprint pedals put together. And one guy posted it, but the thing is, he didn't use a preload spring. And I found that weird. So I asked, I was like, no preload spring? He was like, yeah, it feels better. So I immediately went to that photo that he took of his sprint Husenvelts, and I mimicked that exact same setup. And when I went out there on the track on Suzuka on the very first, well, the second lap after the out lap, I hit a 203 flat. So I already took off like a second, right? So then 2 laps later, I hit a 202.5. So so it's kind of like I don't want to blame it on the pedal, like on that on the setup of the pedals, but I have no choice but to. So the moral of the story is I don't believe that I would have ever gotten that time that quick if I wouldn't have made the drastic change to switch that up. And that's what I did. So moral story is like when you have pedals or when you have like a driving style or when you have a setup to a particular car that you like or to a track, you need to try each and every strategy and tactic to get the most time out there. Because a lot of times we'll get in a habit to where we'll be driving the track a certain way and then we won't realize it until somebody points it out that we're leaving time out there on the track, and that's the last thing you want to do. I'm going to be right back, guys. Right back. All right, I'm back. Yeah, so you won't be realizing that you're leaving time out there on the track until somebody points it out, right? Um, like for instance, I watched this one video and this guy was talking about how you can't drive a Formula One car or a car with a lot of downforce the same way you would drive like a GT4 car that doesn't have a lot of downforce. Like in regards to taking the lines, like sometimes in a GT4 car, you have to open up the turn, you have to open up the exit in order to make the next turn quicker, as fast as possible. But when you're driving like a Formula One car, now I'm talking about iRacing now, right now. If you're talking about like a Formula One car, you don't need to open up the exit as much as you would a GT4 car because there's more downforce. So if you were to open it up in a Formula One car, you're just leaving time out there on the track. So I guess the moral of the story is don't get so stuck in the way things are. Try to like kind of like switch them up. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only way you're gonna get faster. That's the only way you're gonna get faster, bro. Because if you just continuously drive the same way, or you continuously like get stuck in a particular setup, like it's not gonna work. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to just push myself and figure out ways I can exhaust my options and figure out ways to get quicker out there on the track. Because one thing that James Baldwin just on one of his most recent videos, he just quoted, he said that in ACC, there's like a lot of these setups are like hacked in a sense. And what I mean by hacked, I think he said hacked or he said like broken. There you go, broken. So what he means by broken is like, for instance, like on your camber. So your camera would be all the way like most of the times the setups are running like the sliders all the way down or all the way up. So the camera won't be like negative 2.5. It'll be negative 4.0 on most of these setups. These top guys are running like setups like that. They're not running these setups where it's like halfway done or like 25% done. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like the only way somebody figured that out is because they tried it. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to go out there and you have to really try it. For instance, right? One thing that I'm learning right now in ACC is the aero difference. So I've learned that you want to keep your aero difference between 3.0% and 5.0%. Now this is an ACC, so you can adjust your ride height to suit that or blah 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 whatever. So for instance, in the 180R in Suzuka, and I'm gonna talk about Suzuka just because like in LFM that's what we were running this week, which I have no idea what we're running next week. It sucks because I always get fast at the track at the end of the week. But anyways, on the 180R, a lot of times in iRacing or certain other systems, right, you can take the 180R like straight full, right? You can just take it full three, like you don't have to hit the brake or nothing like that, right? But on the 180R and ACC, you have to lift off just a little bit just to make the turn, because if not, you'll overshoot it and you get off track and blah blah blah. It just won't work, right? The thing about it is, I switch cars. I'm not running the Audi anymore. I run the Honda NSX, the GT Evo. So the one thing about that car, from what I've heard, it drives kind of like the Porsche. So it has something called lift oversteer, and that's when you lift the throttle, it wants to oversteer like crazy, right? And that's what it does. But one way to deal with that is the ride height. The ride height. So from what I know is, the higher the ride height is, the the more loose the rear end is going to be, right? But the lower it is, the less loose it's going to be, and the more downforce you're going to have in the rear. And that might seem normal, or it's like simple, but I was able to exploit this and create a more stable driving experience just from exploring these options. It might be normal, but it's kind of like, all right, maybe for qualifying, you might want to have like a high ride height, so therefore you can just be quicker, and not worry too much about downforce like that. But maybe like on a 20 to 40-minute race, you want to drive stable and consistent the whole time and not fight it every time on 180R and be like, oh man, I'm about to crash out. And that's not what you want to do. So you raise the ride height, or you lower the ride height, to suit your liking, right? Then for instance, like fuel loads. What I'm learning now when it comes to fuel loads, it's like you can't, like, I would rather do like a correct calculation of fuel loads. Therefore, I'm not running excess fuel, because I understand that the Honda NSX runs crazy on high fuel loads. For instance, when I finish a race, right? When I finish a race, I do not want to finish the race and have like seven laps of fuel left. Okay. I do not want to finish the race and have like 7 laps of fuel left. Like, that defeats the purpose. Like, literally, every time I finish a race, my goal now is to have like at least 1.5 or 2 laps of fuel. I do understand that puts me like at the limit. Like, say if something bad were to happen, like I have to be careful with fuel wasting, or fuel load, or blah blah blah, whatever. But that's not really something I'm really too much worried about, because you know usually that doesn't happen when you run like a 20-minute stint. I ain't got to really worry about that. We ain't got no pit stops or nothing like that. I ain't got to really worry about that. So with that being said, like, exploiting the fuel load window as well. But yeah, it's just like with everything. Like, for instance, like, this is kind of off topic, but most people didn't know that Nolan Ryan, the famous pitcher with the Texas Rangers and the Angels and the Mets, I think he's with the Mets too, but he did yoga and he did Tai Chi, and he did that because he felt like it helped him on his release. And he feel like it helped him in regards to injury prevention and durability when he pitched. So, you know, have you tried mind altering and breathing techniques to help you out when you drive? Because we all know that breathing certain ways will increase your concentration when you're out there on the track. So there's a lot of things that you can try, and I think when you try to exhaust your options to what you think will make you a better driver, that's when you develop your own style and you develop your own way of driving that is very unique to you. You understand what I'm saying? Because you have to develop that in order for you to be comfortable out there. You can't go out there and try to be somebody else or go strictly off of other people's setups. And the reason why I'm really stressing this whole exhaust your options is because I think that gets to a point in sim racing where you have to start learning to be more self-sufficient out there on the track, even when it comes to like setups, because those people that you get those setups from, they might stop posting them, or they might stop posting them for free, and you got to pay for them because they might charge like $100 or something like that. And I don't know if you want to pay that, but yeah, you got to make yourself more self sufficient, and the only way to do that is to exhaust your options. Like, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to take chances. Understand that what's the worst that can happen? It's not like you got to really pay for these damages. You know what I'm saying? So just take a chance and just exhaust your options when you're out there on the track. Um, but yeah, in the chat, let me know, man. Do you guys got any examples of how you guys have felt like you have exhausted your options, or what are your tips that you have when it comes to like exhausting your options? Um, Once again, I do appreciate you guys bearing with me today. I'm sick. I ain't trying to sound like a victim or anything like that, but I am sick. But let me know in the comments, man. You guys, how do you guys exhaust your options when it comes to sim racing? Let me know. Oh yeah, make sure you guys hit the like button. It helps, man. Right now we at 10 likes, man. Let's get to 20. I really appreciate that though. If you can, man. It really helps. Really helps with support. Oh yeah, man. While y'all thinking about how you guys exhaust your options out there on the track, your man just hit 200 subscribers. I'm now at 207. We're trying to get to 500 soon, but we're at 207, man. It's been a grind. I got like over 500 videos, man. I'm finally at 200, and I'm proud of that because you guys have stuck with me. You guys have been with me from my Gran Turismo days to my karting days. You guys saw me buy my first cart, sell my first cart, buy another cart, sell that cart, and now I'm just strictly doing sim racing. Um, but yeah, I appreciate that, man. We at 200. We're almost at 500. We'll be there in no time. We'll be there in no time. But the goal is to get to 500 in like 3 months, probably at the end of the first quarter of the year. That's the goal. I guess that really be 2 months. But yeah, hit the like button, man. Help me out, man. Share it with your friends. But yeah, see, we don't have anybody who wants to share it, but that's fine. In regards to like setup or your pedals and stuff, it's kind of like who's that guy? Racing Beyond Matters. He talks about like seat position. So he talks about a reason why you should have seat belts and how it keeps you stuck. Um, it keeps you strapped into the seats where therefore you're not moving a lot when you're pressing the brakes because any small minute like second in between the foot and the brake pressure, the pressure you apply to the brake, it will mess you up and it'll cost you time out there on the track. Yeah, man, complex, man. He turned it in early, man. He's been up for a while, man. So it's just me tonight. What up, Zone? I appreciate you joining me tonight, man. So I got a question for you, Zone. How do you exhaust your options when it comes to sim racing? Uh, so I talked about mine is like a lot of times I go in the forums, I go into groups, I go to like Reddit and stuff, and I watch other people and I'll see what they do with their particular setups and I'll see how I can possibly like mimic that and see if that's something that I can use, just in order to get time. For instance, there was a guy on Facebook who did a whole different like stack on his Hughesonville sprints, and I did the same stack. I shaved like a second and a half or whatever, a second off my time at Suzuka this week. And it was because of that. But see, I never would have known that if I didn't exhaust my options. I didn't try everything. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to try stuff even when it seems stupid because you never know. It might only be stupid to the people that don't believe it. But then once you do it and you see it works, are you really stupid or are you smart? You know what I'm saying? So I was thinking about showing you guys a video. Um, I had one of my last race at Suzuka. I had a really good race, but I'm not going to show it because I don't want to. Because I'm going to go ahead and release it this week. I'll probably release it like on Tuesday or something like that, Wednesday. But outside of that, but yeah, it's going to be a short one tonight, man. Appreciate you guys joining me. But Formula, aka Neat, he's and switched it up. I appreciate that. You don't think you do anything out of the ordinary? I can understand that. I think what it is like what pushed me to get out, to stop doing things out of the ordinary is because I was tired of being slow. Like you guys, understand that I went from iRacing to ACC, and it was a very steep learning curve. Like I was getting my tail kicked in ACC. Like I was getting slumped. You know what I'm saying? Every time I go out there, I'm like, yo, I can't keep up with these guys. But the thing about ACC is that it's all about confidence and just really not caring and just running your race. Like even if you in the back, you're in the mid pack. You really don't need to. If you know that you're in the mid pack and you really don't think, and you really know that there's no like chance of you moving up, you really have to stop worrying about getting to the front. You really have to just worry about just being the best that you can be at that particular position that you're in. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I learned when it comes to that. Because at ACC, I had to change a lot of things, like my driving style. Like for instance, like when it comes to ACC, there's like I'll drive like I drive in ACC, but as soon as I go to iRacing, like an iRacing, it'd be totally different. You know what I'm saying? Like an iRacing would be totally different. All right, so we got zone. Sorry, I'm still a few minutes behind, but what I learned on the track is every driving style is different, so every setting is different. You can't copy someone else's settings because your driving style is not the same as someone else. It's very true. It's very true, but that's why I've been preaching this exhaust your options, man. Because once you exhaust your options and you try everybody else's settings, then you realize, okay, why do I not like this dude's settings? You know what I'm saying? Why do I not like it? Do I like cars that are oversteers? Do I like cars that are understeer? For instance, James Baldwin, he likes cars that are more understeering than oversteer, according to him. So, I guess the only way you can find that driving style is just by exhausting your options. Yes, exactly. It does come down to the individual sim and how it drives. What up, Ty Kid? What's the deal, man? Appreciate you joining us tonight, man. No, but it does go down to that, man. Like for instance, like I'll do iRace, like if I do like iRacing for like 4 days and then I switch over to ACC, I'll immediately spin out every turn because the throttle response in ACC is totally different than what it is in iRacing, as well as the braking. So, like in ACC, you really need to feather that throttle. You need to be cautious of how much input you put into that throttle. On iRacing, to be honest with you, I bet you right now, if I got on iRacing, I'll probably treat like the Ferrari, like in the Class D, like the Ferrari classes or whatever, or the Audis and the Fanatec GT3 series. I just go out there and I'll dog it because I probably won't worry about like traction control or nothing. I'll just dog it. And that's because of ACC. ACC, like you have to be really, really, really be careful of what you do with the inputs that you put into it. You know what I'm saying? But like you're saying, man, it does come down with each sim, being different or different not. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but I got a question for you, Ty, man. Like, how do you exhaust your options in what you're good at? You know what I'm saying? Like say you're like a really good, basketball player, a football player. Like, how do you exhaust your options, and why do you exhaust your options? Because I'll recap, retalk it. The reason why I exhaust my options in sim racing is because I'm realizing that if I don't exhaust my options and I don't try everything, I'm just gonna be stuck at this time, and I don't want to be stuck at this time. Like I'm seeing top guys like right now in Suzuka, they're running like 158s, and the closest I got is a 202. I've hit 201s, but something will happen right in that lap and then mess me up. So I'm like 3 seconds off the top guys, but I want to be at the top, guys. You know what I'm saying? That's the ultimate goal, and that's what will happen if I just continue to practice. But the only way I say is exhaust your options, and that's the only way it will happen. Yeah, man. Uh, Apologize for the dead air today. I'm like on Benadryl and all that fun stuff. My eyes are falling. Anyways, all right, yeah. Like I said, man, it's gonna be a short one tonight, man. But we got a new video coming out. I'm gonna make it tomorrow, but I'll probably release it on Tuesday. So Ty Kid says I step into uncomfortable scenarios, accepting the challenge of learning from the experience, bro. Makes sense. I agree, man. You gotta step into uncomfortable scenarios and accept the challenge because once you step into uncomfortable scenarios, you didn't realize. Um, I think that's what people call elasticity. I can't say that word. Elasticity of the brain. Like when you work out really hard, you're just doing nothing but building elasticity in your muscle as well as your brain. So if you read for a long period of time, you're building elasticity. If you struggle for a long time, you're building elasticity. You're just building uh, more bandwidth to learn and taking in more knowledge. Zone says sometimes you got to play with those steering wheel settings too, and also gas pedal settings and brake settings. Hey, yeah, you were totally right. When Ulysses was doing that session, we were 2 days ago. You know how we did that brake power, which I don't believe that's why he started messing up on the last session, that last out. But yeah, I started learning that too, man. When you start lowering the brake power setting in ACC, you can it's hard to explain, but you feel like you can stop a little later. No, that's not. It's with a setup or without. It was with like a regular fixed series in iRacing. I feel like I can dog it. Yeah, man. But I appreciate you guys joining me. I'm about to get up out of here, bro. But outside of that, man, please hit the like button. Please share this with everybody. If you guys want to support me or Ulysses, please hit the Cash App. You're scrolling down at the bottom of the ticker. You understand? You can go to Cash App and you can hit the key to auto, or you can hit for Ulysses. You can hit the Cash App CMPLXDSGN. Any donations are needed. I mean, any donations are helpful. And man, we really appreciate you guys rocking with us. Like I told you, man, we had 200 subscribers. We're trying to get to 500 by the end of the first quarter, for real. But outside of that, man, I'm about to go to sleep, man. My eyes are falling down. Yo, what is on? I'm gonna read this real quick. Zone. I think with his car, it shouldn't be 50-50 braking, but more front bias brake. I never thought about that. See, I'm always running rear mid engines or whatever, so I would always push the brake bias to the rear. It's a good idea. We'll try that. Hey man, I appreciate you guys joining us, man. I love all y'all. Have a good one.